Right, I think we are live. I'm just gonna wait for a few people to jump in before I get started, but I will start setting up what I'm going to be working on today. So, welcome to another Craft Your Stash Thursday where we gather together and craft our stash of craft supplies. Um, If you're like me, you have a lot of supplies in your craft room that you may or may not have gotten into. I have tons that I know that I need to use, and that's why I came up with this Craft Your Stash Thursdays, where we can all just get together, chat, no pressure, use what you have, use something new if you want, um, watch, and just have some fun. So for tonight's live, I decided to pull a Simon Says stamp kits. I think this is from either last year or the year before, but it's a kit that I started putting together but did not finish. There were some parts of it that were actually really easy to put together, some quick cards, and then some of the other more intense stuff I just didn't have enough time for. And I've been kind of in this like uh what do you call it when you're just not feeling motivated or you don't have many ideas. I can't think of the word right now. But um I've been feeling kind of like that. So I decided that I was going to go ahead and use the inspiration sheet that came with the kit to go ahead and create some cards. And you may be asking, well, why am I doing Christmas? Because it's Christmas in July, right? I know not everyone does Christmas in July, and that's okay. I know it's not for everybody. In fact, I saw a, well, I didn't see, but I have my Bruce Monroe inspiration box coming this month, and I got some add ons, and their freebies are actually Halloween focused. So I thought that was kind of cool. Halloween in July. And then I have one of my design teams, they're going to be focusing on Christmas in another month this summer. So that will be coming up as well. Um, but me, I don't mind Christmas in July. I love Christmas, and anytime I can make some Christmas cards ahead of time to make the load a lot less on me by the time Christmas comes, the better. So, of these cards that I was looking at, I saw this one by Cindy, there's this one by Kathy, this one by Sherry. I actually already recreated these cards, so I am may do a version of that tonight. And then there's this one by Nina Marie. Um, I also put together some stuff from this one from Susan, and I could easily produce this one from Callie too as well. So it just, depends on how tonight goes. I may not do all of them. I may do one. I may do more than one, but we'll see. But what I was going to start off with was this one here, and I will zoom in just a little bit so you can see that. So we've got this dark blue background with some stars. We've got these 4 snowmen who are caroling. This joy is a die, and this Have a Merry Little Christmas is a stamp from this kit. And I'm going to go ahead and zoom back out. So this is a stamp set that comes with the kit. It does not come with the dies, but there are dies available. I don't know if this is still available. I think it is. But I don't have the dies to them. So for tonight, what I did is I stamped some images, and I'll show you here. And then I used my brother's scan and cut to cut these out, which actually did pretty well. So I'm convinced that I don't need to get the dies for these. So another way to save money. My brother's scan and cut actually works for quite a few stamps, so that's appreciated. So then for this one, The other thing that came in this kit are, or is, see if I can find it, this decoupage kit. And at first when I heard it was called decoupage, I was like, you know, why, how's that decoupage? But it's called 3D decoupage, and it's by Consortium, oh, Craft Consortium. I really don't think that's how you say that, but whatever. But basically what it does is it comes with a little Christmas scene, and it's broken down into pieces or layers. So just like you're doing decoupage, like I think of decoupage with like glue and newspaper like you did in school, you're creating layers and layers. So this is basically this picture here broken down into different layers, and then in the end you end up with like this 3D kind of look or kind of image that you can use on your card. If you look at this, you can see some people used it differently than how it was intended. So I'm going to try some of those tonight since I already did it the way it was intended, but I might do one the way it's intended. Anyways, I'm going to stop talking. So I'm going to go ahead and get started with this one. So for this one, I have some goodies. So I'm going to start off with the background first. And for the background, I'm going to be using this Twinkling Stars embossing folder. And it looks like it's been used as well as some white ink splattering as well, so we can do that. And there's two ways that this type of background can be achieved, and I have done both of them, but I'm going to show you guys both of them. I did both of them just to test it out and make sure that the looks I was looking for, you know, came out like I thought. So one way to recreate this background is to take a sheet of blue cardstock paper and then run this through our die cutting machine to emboss it. So then you'll see on here we have stars, and to get them to be white we can do an ink swiping technique. So that is where there's two different ink swiping techniques, I guess you could say. There's one where you can swipe it in all the raised bumps, all the raised images. That's where your ink is going to go. Everything that's in the background will stay the color that it is. But if you flip this around and you swipe over the background, where there are image indentations, that's where it's going to stay this blue color, and the rest of it is going to turn white. So we don't want that. So what we want is to have some white stars. So with the raised edges on top, I'm going to go ahead and swipe. And I'm going to do this a little bit differently than I did the first time, because if I use it like this, where it's vertical, I kind of want to get like this swooshing technique or look with the stars and like the snow and stuff. And last time I did it this way, which kind of was the wrong direction for what I was looking for. So I'm going to swipe it this way and just hold down the paper, and I'm not going to put too much pressure on it. So what it's doing is actually making those stars more visible. And I am pushing just slightly more just because when we put it up this way, it almost looks like the snow is just drifting. It's just going in the wind. So I kind of like that look. So that is one way to recreate that background. This will lighten up, and then I would have to splatter this with white pigment paint, and I used Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White, and this is what it ended up looking like once it dried. So I'm going to go ahead and splatter on this one, because here you can see what I'm talking about, where horizontally it looks like that snow is just kind of drifting. And if I do it this way with the images, then it looks like it's falling down. I guess we could have that as well. But I figured it'd be fun to try it both ways. But before I get to doing our splattering, I want to try the other background as well. So I'm going to take a sheet of watercolor white cardstock, and I'm going to run this through the die cutting machine with the embossing folder. So then we've got the same thing we had before, but with white cardstock. So the stars are raised on this side, and they're going to be indented down on this side. And the side that we're going to use this time is this side where the stars are indented down, because we want them to stay white, and we want the rest of our background to be blue. So I'm going to take this Catherine Pooler Dress Blues ink, and I'm just going to swipe it across my paper, and it should leave the stars generally white if I do it with the correct amount of pressure. You can always do it a couple of times. And Catherine Pooler inks are really well for doing this type of technique on paper, because or just coloring the paper in general. She advertises that if you need paper to match the ink color that you're using, just swipe it on some white cardstock and it will match. Now I feel like I'm having more difficulty doing this smoothly than I did the first time, so I think either it's dried out or I'm not pressing as hard as I did before. But either way, I have one finished, so if this doesn't work out here, I can show you what it should look like. And it's better just to repeat it multiple times than to put more pressure, because if you put more pressure, then you're going to get blue on your stars, which is not what we want. Yeah, I think this is just drying out. So you do have to have a well-inked pad to do this. It doesn't really matter which direction you go in. I'm going to see if we can get it to work, but I think we're definitely getting some blue in our stars, which is not what we want. But instead of just doing this over and over again, I will show you what it should turn out to be like. So just clean up this area. Okay, so if it works correctly, it'll look like this. So I had enough ink on my ink pad before, but I guess from doing this I ran out of ink. So it just needs to be re-inked up before I can finish. And I'm not going to do it now because it may, if it doesn't have time to set, too much of that ink may go into the crevices here where the stars are. So in the end, we have two different style papers. The closest one, I think, to the picture is this one here, but I really like both. So that other one that I had started, I'm going to go ahead and splatter some white pigment paint just to get the appearance of snow. And I like to use a fan brush whenever I'm splattering. So I just put a little bit down, spray it with some water, mix it up, dip, 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 and then tap. And by doing the splattering too, like any imperfections you might have won't even matter. So it looks like, at first it looked like it was not perfect because of the swiping getting onto the blue part of the paper, the background part. But now that I've done some splattering, it kind of looks like I meant for it to be that way. So it's just how kind of card making works, as you improvise. I hope I didn't get any splattering on my image. And I wanted to clean this up for real later. I have a box where I put stuff in, but I don't know where it is. So, okay. So we have 3 finished panels. I'm gonna go ahead and let this one dry, and then I will use that later, whether it's tonight or whether it's after this. And then I'm gonna continue to recreate this scene, but instead of using this image, I decided to use this one, which is a snowman and this little dog and owl at the mailbox, ready to put their letters in for Santa or whoever. I don't know if it does say on there. It doesn't. It just says, it looks like it says Mr., so it could be to anybody. So the only thing I need to get is a Stitch Hillside die. So let me grab that real quick. Just bear with me because it's not where I thought it was. But I know I had it recently. Alright, here we go. So let's put the camera back on. Alright. So here is my stitched hillside border, and I guess we could do the medium one or the small one. I think the large one, the hill is too steep. I think this one will do good. So I'm just going to get a piece of white cardstock. Just have some over to the side here. And I'm going to measure where I want my hillside to go. So I want it generally like right there. So, well, you know what? We'll make the hillside like this. Then we'll tape it on where we want it, and then just cut off the excess. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Remember, if you're just stopping in, go ahead and say hi. Let me know that you're here. And let me know what projects you're working on tonight. Whether they're 4th of July projects or Christmas in July, or you're just sitting and watching. That's fine too. Alright, so I've got my hillside. So now we can measure about how far down we're going to want it. So I want this kind of like that. I can mark it with a pencil. It's right about here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim that. All right, so this would go kind of like that. And the next thing is to use the Joy die, and what it looks like they did is they put it right into the white cardstock and use the background to kind of light it up. I think I might put some blue cardstock behind it though. But it is such a thin die that that's probably the easiest thing to do. Hello, Allison. Thanks for joining. You got a crown? That must mean you're special. You did something right. Hi, Joy. How are you? Nice to see you. So to catch you guys up, I'm just working on a Simon Says stamp kit that I had in my stash for at least the past year or since last Christmas, and I'm trying to use it up since, you know, Christmas in July. Joy, I know you're not a fan of Christmas in July, but that's what I decided to work on tonight. I was saying earlier, I saw Brutus Monroe was doing freebies for his products with your purchase, and he's doing Halloween themed freebies, which I thought was kind of cool to do Halloween in July. Alright, so there are two pieces to this die. There is the actual word joy, and then there is the shadow. So I'm just going to use the word joy, but I want to make sure that I line everything up before I actually determine where I'm going to put that joy at to die cut it. So I'm going to put that right about there. And the joy could go right about there. And then the sentiment can go over here once we die cut the joy. So I'm going to just get some tape to adhere this down. And I want to make sure that it's straight. Best that I can do. I also have a T-square ruler that I can use to see if that will tell me if I'm straight. I have a small one. This cute little one from, what's the brand called? The Light Up brand that does the lights. Not Chibitronics, but the other one. Alright. I think that's good enough for me. It's really hard to tell, to be honest. Oh, so you're working on Halloween stuff. That's awesome. I know, I was so tempted to do Halloween stuff today, but I don't have like any Halloween kits that I need to finish. I pretty much go through them as soon as I have them. But maybe next live I can do Halloween. And thank you for all the love. All right. So see how intricate this die cut is? Like, that would be really hard to glue down. There are ways, there are methods, but not what I'm doing tonight. And then what I want is this little piece here to go in the joy. And we're going to, like I said, put this onto some blue cardstock. So I think I'm going to use what I was using for that other background we did. I'm just going to see if it is too much of a difference in color. It may be too much of a difference in color. Thank you, ETX. She says it's looking awesome. All right, I think I can go a lighter blue. So let me grab that real quick. I'm actually going to bring this piece with me so I can compare it to my cardstock. Oh, I found one. All right, I think this color is a much better match. What do you think? This one's a bit too navy. Start throwing things to the side. This is where things start to get messy. Okay. Don't want to lose that. So what I can do is I can generally put this where I need it to be. And then I'm just going to wing it here. Make sure we're not cutting the white though. It doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to go behind joy, and it needs to not be seen. All right, that looks good. So we can go ahead and just use some liquid adhesive to adhere this down. And we can flip it over and we can put our little piece for joy. What I should do is glue under this too. Feel free to share what you guys are working on. I know Allison said that she's working on Halloween stuff. Alright, so I'm going to just pick this up, drop that in. Oops, it shifted on me. But thankfully we have some wiggle room. Oh, I need the O part too. You guys didn't say something. Homecoming mums. Tell me more about that. So again, using the liquid adhesive because it gives us some wiggle room. And I think I need to glue down this part of the joy as well. A red and silver star theme. Oh, that's awesome. So like the flower, right? All right, so then this will go over on top of this, and it's the same color for the most part. So now we just need to stamp our sentiment for this one. And we have a few different ones. We have a Merry Little Christmas and Holiday Cheer. I think Holiday Cheer would be kind of repetitive with joy, so I'm going to do Have a Merry Little Christmas. And I think I'm going to use the same ink. We're going to use the same ink color. So I'm going to just drop this down in my Misty and see if I can find my grids. Not that one, but this one. So this is from Tailored Expressions, and it's a nice clear grid that you can put over your project to help make sure that your sentiment is lined up straight, which tells me that was pretty lined up. That was lined up pretty straight, so we did good with that. Okay, I'm going to look on the camera for this. Oh, that sounds beautiful. You'll have to share in my group. Or on my page even. Okay, I think that'll be good. Oh, good, Alice. I'm glad to hear that you have that. Definitely use it. I store it in with my Misty, so I never forget to use it. Especially with clear stamps, I always remember. I also use it with, what do you call it? The red rubber stamps. because you can stamp onto the clear grid to see if it's straight, and then you can adjust it accordingly if it's not. Give that ink time to go through. Okay, have a little Christmas. A merry little Christmas. Alright, so we're going to pick this up now. Put this to the side. I really should be cleaning as I go, because if I go on to this next card, I'm going to have a mess to work with. Alright, so we're just going to put this like this, and then that like that. And I think that's all we need for that card. So I'm going to use some foam tape to pop this up, give it some dimension. Anytime I can add dimension, I usually do. I don't know. I don't know what it is about it, but I like the feel that it makes the card, like it's like has substance to it. And it's more sturdy. Alright, and am I going to put some up here? I think I can do that with the little foam squares. I don't have to cover it all, but just some of it. Let me know if you guys want me to go in a little bit closer, because I can do that. It's just that I'm looking at a very small screen, so for me it looks very small, but for you guys it might not be. Okay, I feel like I've been having some trouble with this batch of foam tape. And it's from Tailored Expressions, and I normally don't. So I'm wondering if I got a bad batch or if they changed their formula. So I'm probably going to email their customer service and ask, because their tape is usually the best that I use or have used. You can see that this is difficult. Oh my gosh. Of course it's like when I'm live too, but you know, this happens when I'm not live. Like just switched over to a new role. Like literally poking myself trying to get this off. It's not cool. Wow. I mean, that I'm probably ripping part of that up, but geez. They have, oh, something. I don't know. I'm going to get down to the bottom of this tomorrow. Or, no, wait, yes, tomorrow's, oh, they're probably closed tomorrow. I'll send them an email over the weekend for Monday. It's just so sticky. Like, doesn't want to release the paper. Come on. You're the last one. There we go. That took way too long. All right, let's get this on. I'm going to bring it out in front of me. You're not going to see it for a second, but this way I can put my eyes right over it. All right, so we've got that. And then, am I going to pop this up? I know I need to pop it up off the background, but I'm wondering if I should pop it up off the snow as well. I think I should. And thankfully we can use these little squares that don't have issues with the adhesive backing coming off. So there's going to be a certain way to do this. So if I'm going to put a foam tape here, I'm probably going to do those little squares, but I'm going to need to double them up because I have a layer of foam tape here. So I'm kind of just going to measure where I want my bigger squares to go. And then I can start putting on my, I'm going to double it up. I'm sorry, I'm going to double it up on the bigger squares, not on the smaller squares. Let's make sure I'm saying that right. No, on the double. Yes, double up on the big squares. You know when you're on the spot and you know everyone's watching you and you have to think on your feet? That's what's going on right now. So I was never a public speaker. I was a teacher. It was almost like public speaking, but even that was hard for a bit. So let's remove. We did the big squares, so we're going to add another layer. This way everything will just line up smoothly. Okay. So I'm going to take those off. Okay, so now again I'm going to put this in front of me just so I can see. Alright, so now you can see how this is popped up, but this has double the foam tape because of the dimension here, and having dimension here, it needs to double the layer, and then it's all one smooth layer. So that is ready to be put on a card. I won't do that yet, but there's a close look. Card 1. So for the next card, you guys can vote if you want. There are 3 cards, and I just have to find do I have a poll? Wherever my keyboard is, something is on it. Because it was typing. Nope, I don't want that to type. Alright. Here's a poll. Okay. So we have this ho 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 card. ho, ho, ho. We have this decoupage card. And then this card is the pattern paper. And for that one, I'm totally going to wing it because I'm not making it like that. So let me know which card you think I should make next, and I can make that card, or try to. I'm not saying that I can definitely replicate it. So I see ho 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 got voted for. And we're gonna go with that. Alright, ho 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 is what we're gonna do. Alright, so this card was done by Kathy Zilski. And I really liked the clean and simple factor of this card. If I have any images, I will be coloring them in, because I will show you. Here are the images that I have not colored yet. That would be for the other card, so we're going to do it this one first. So for her background, she used the stamp set and created her own background. And I'm going to use this sea salt ink because it's a hybrid ink and it's a very, very, very light gray. So you're barely going to be able to see it, but it'll give you that like tone on tone appearance. Sorry if that was right in the mic. So we're going to use the stocking. I think we should use some mistletoe, the deer, some gifts. Maybe we'll stick a candy cane in there. I'll take this sentiment off. Oh, I got blue. I have blue on me. I hate when that happens. Okay, it was just that finger. And I might need to switch to, you know, I'm going to just go ahead and do it. Switch to my bigger Misty. Because if we want some of these floating off the edge, then we're going to need the space. God, I wasn't sure if it was a kit. Pre-colored, yeah. It's not a pre-colored kit, but it has images that are pre-colored. There's a decoupage part of the kit where the images are pre-colored. So that part, yes. If I get to that one will be colored already, and you don't have to watch me color it. Alright, so let me place the stocking here. Place our big stamps first. A deer right there. Some mistletoe. A gift. And if you remember what it looks like, the center part of it is really not going to be seen. So let's just focus on the outside. and put this gift going that way. So it's just the border. And because of that, I think I'm going to turn this that way. Bring our deer out more. And our stocking, I think we could use something right there. Here's a little bow. Where did I say? Here or here? I don't remember. I'll put a bow there. And then there's some dots, there's stars. Here's another candy. There's a bell. Put a bell right there. All right. So very random. I have a sticky mat in here, so that's why my paper is sticking without a magnet. I think this ink is open. I've used it maybe once before. Okay. Hopefully it's not dried out or anything, because I do not have a re-inker for it. Go ahead and take this top off. And I can always restamp this because we are using a Misty. Okay. I'm going to try to make it even. And it should dry back. Let's check it out. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it like that, even though it's a little uneven. Except for up here. That didn't stamp all the way. Oh, and here. Sometimes the ink is still there, just you have to push it back down. Alright, so this will hopefully dry back. What I can do to try is heat set it with my heat tool. It seems like it's doing it. Because I think the whole point of this ink was that's supposed to be great for giving you that tone-on-tone look. Of course, it's not going to give you that with this because we're not using a colored paper. But it should give us a light gray. In the end, they should look like this, but we'll go ahead and let that sit. Alright, so the next part is there is a little rectangle in the middle that says ho ho ho. So the kit came with this foil cardstock. So I can either use the foil cardstock, stamp and heat emboss, or use red cardstock. And I'm not sure exactly how well heat embossing will go on foiled cardstock. So I can't guarantee that that's going to come out good. But I think it would be really pretty if it did. and just gather my heat embossing stuff. I've got an embossing powder tray, my, what is this called? It's embossing powder, but it's for getting rid of the no foil. Okay, Allison says no foil. Is that because it doesn't do well? And we need ink. Because now I'm tempted to try it. And I'm going to decide if I want to, I think I want to cut this down ahead of time. So let's see what size it needs to be. Okay. So for what I'm looking at, bring out my T-square ruler again. Want it to go just about there. So that's 3 inches. Wait, bring that up some more. 3 inches. Let's do 3 by 4. Try it. All right, well, let's try it. 3 by 4. I'm gonna cut this down. Oh, I didn't put my face back on there. Sorry, guys. We'll do that in a second. Alright, so this is generally how I want it to be. And if we put that on here, then that is what it's going to look like. So I think that's good. But I might do something different with this still. I'm not sure yet. Fortunately, I don't think that's drawing back like I thought it would. But you never know unless you try. Which is why Allison's right that we should just go ahead and try this. And if it doesn't work, we have the other cardstock. So this is a point where I'm going to start losing things, so bear with me. So I'm going to powder this up, get rid of the static, anti-static powder. That's what this is called, you guys. Now, what I'm thinking could happen is that the ink might pool up and not stick in the spot that I want it to stick. Or it may not. I usually, as a rule of thumb for me, stamp with my embossing ink 3 times to make sure it's nice and wet before I put the embossing powder on. Hopefully this doesn't catch on fire or anything. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead. I have some super fine detail powder. Sprinkle that on. And it's hard to tell if what is left over is the anti-static powder or the embossing powder. Whoops. I want to flick that across the room. But I'm going to do a little cleanup just to see. Maybe it is only just the oops. Yeah, I think we were right in not doing this, or that we shouldn't. But here we go. We're gonna heat set it. I know for a fact that this powder right here is embossing powder. Change it so you can see. There we go. All right. Try heat set this. Let that dry for a second, but I'm gonna go ahead and prepare the next the cardstock for a card. I do not think it's going to work. At least it's not going to have that detail that's in the letters. It should stamp the same way. Alright. Try to wipe off the excess. And here we go. So we tried it and it's no good. Powder stuck where I didn't want it to stick. So we'll try it on cardstock. But now we know. I don't know if there's a different way I could have done that. I'm not sure. But before we forget, let's go ahead and put our anti-static powder on here. And stamp. Now hopefully this one will actually catch the details in the letters, which I think makes them fun. So do it 1, 2, and 3 times the charm. Put my face back on. There you go. And back to our embossing powder. And flick. That's looking good. I don't know if all the details going to be there because we are embossing it, though, but that is okay. I had some tweezers around here. Here we go. Maybe, yeah. So that looks much better. There's maybe like a dot of embossing powder where it shouldn't be. So I'm just going to put this to the side. Close this up. Bring back our background, which is kind of at this point just looks like we used two different grays. That's okay. And we're going to put some black twine in the middle. And the other thing I wanted to do, let's see if I can find it. There is a little charm that I had. And if it's too difficult to find it, we're just not going to do it. And if you've seen it, let me know. Well, that's what happens when we don't put things away as we work. So there's this little charm, and I know I'm going to find it once I start cleaning up. I'm not going to bore you with that. That I can tie around here. So what I can do for right now is just tie a bow without it and then untie it later and add the charm. So I'm just going to make this like this. And I'm going to use this little cloth here to wipe off the excess anti-static powder. Try to brighten up our red. And I want it to tie to the side over here. So I'm just making the center on the side here. And creating my bow. And once I find it, I can either leave that as a bow and have it hang, or just do it as a knot like in the picture. But I want to pop this up, but I feel like we need some more black with how the background is. Maybe. Like maybe at least a black border around the red. What do you think? I might have a scrap of black somewhere near. So what if I were to do that? Ooh, I like that. I don't know why it reminds me of a gift, but it does. So I'm going to need to pop that up to accommodate for the string. And since this was 3 by 4, we're gonna make it 3 1/4 by 4 1/4. So it'll be like that. So let's put some foam tape on the back. I'm gonna try this other foam tape that is, it's still TE, but it's thinner and it's not a new roll. Actually, I think I need to, oh, that's cutting it close. Let's see if I can do it. Yep, yay. All right, now one down at the bottom. My daughter's hair is stuck in it. This, I'm gonna have to, don't know why that one goes off the edge. And one more. You really only needed a thin amount of foam tape. Okay. So let's go ahead and adhere this to the black. And because I might restamp the background again, I'm not going to adhere the black, this part, to the background panel just yet. So we have a lot of things we're waiting on. Waiting on redoing that. We're waiting on finding that charm. But you can kind of get the gist of the card like that. All right, so it is 9:14. I can do one more card. I can show you the layered card, or we can call it a night. So let me know what you would like to see, if you're good for tonight, or if we should keep going, because this decoupage one is pretty cool, but it is a little tedious. But I picked one that was only five layers. It's actually maybe 3. Yeah. All right, I think we can do this one real quick. So with these sets, they basically break down the whole image into separate layers. And just as a reminder, this is by Craft Consortium, and they have more of these type of kits. They have Easter ones, they have birthday ones, but I feel like it's really easy to put these together because all you're doing is adding foam tape and lining up the layers accordingly. So this shouldn't take too long at all. And they come with the foam tape, which is pretty nice. Alright, so this will be our first layer. And I don't think these were hard to get off. If they are, I'm going to just stop right now. Because I've had enough with foam tape today. Let's use our tweezers. See if that helps. No, don't be a problem. Okay. That's one. Okay, maybe I'm just having bad luck. But that was not bad. It's hard because I just did my nails and I kind of don't want to use them as tools. But it might be the easiest way to get these off. Alright, well this is a little bit more tedious than I was hoping it would be. So I'm just going to show you basically how these work. So you would put the foam tape on there and put this one down. Then you would do the third layer, put foam tape on that one, lay that one down. Then you would do the last layer and lay this one down. And then you would have this really cool 3D image. I mean, I think it's pretty cool. You might not want to send it in the mail. You might want to protect it a certain way. But it is fun. It's just a little bit tedious to make. So I've thought about buying the other kits. I just haven't quite made the plunge to do that. But if you do, let me know what you think of them. So I think I'm just going to wrap it up here. So we made the 2 cards almost completely. And I will post pictures later. And if you have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more lives like this. I'll be here next Thursday with another live. Thanks so much for watching. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.